In 2018, I had filed a complaint with DoD. In 2018, I'm covering up the case number in this pic. So I live in Florida. It's 2023, and I have documented stingray tracking. I've even located some of the vehicles that have them. It's typically guys wearing suits, and they'll be in a van, like a mobile unit, or at a location. It could be like a civic group. So, check this out. This is from a document from Florida that I made in Florida. Huh. It's not coming up when I want to share it. So let me see what I can do. I may have to just go. Oh, here it is. Just bear with me one moment. Now, I left Texas in 2018, and this is what Facebook sent me. So I took a snapshot with my phone and I added it to this letter. So I didn't want to show like my information, like personal IP and all that stuff, but I live in the Orlando, Florida area. So this is U.S. Army, Department of Defense. So that's Southern Command. When I lived in Austin, Texas, I was targeted by the Northern Command, and I have videos where you see people in military outfits, military backpacks, driving cars from the Fusion Center, and they had a fleet down a different street, and all the tags have personalized tags. So, what in the world are military people doing driving cars for the Fusion Center? So, what's going on is that there are activities that most people on bases don't even know about that are shielded from other members of the government. Most people in the military are good people, and we've merged the military into this whole community-based approach. There are people that are being harassed on the road. There are operations going on behind the scenes where the police chief doesn't even know about them at times. So there are some that do know, and they just don't get involved. They ignore your complaints. The police officers make false reports. You know why? Because they're allowing this activity to occur. So it's really interesting that in New Mexico, my neighbors, two of them, they know that they're the ones that told me. So these people that moved in next door to me are Army, and there was reports of trash, feces being thrown on my doormat, people going into my place when I wasn't there, when maintenance gives you 72 hours. And this guy said, "Look, I've been here for years. I've never seen these maintenance men before." And one put a key in your door and tapped it with a hammer and turned the door. I guess it was like a bump key. So this is for real, fellow TIs. And I documented in West Palm Beach a lady exiting the store with a bag, and she had this thing in her ear that was curly, and this guy was wearing a suit. And the exact moment I exited the place, she walks by me, she comes to a complete stop and whistles, and then the guy walks up to me and laughs. And I reported every time going there that I was being harassed, and what these people would do is they would walk up to me and whistle and then suddenly leave. And what's really strange is that prior to going there, I went to this place to celebrate my birthday, and this lady walks up to me. She whistles. She walks around me and a relative 3 times in a circle, and she gets in a car with these other people that have a fireman logo. 2 black women, so I'm assuming they're part of emergency management. So I'm looking at leaving the country. I've been harassed where I shop, eat, socialize, walk, and just today it was really weird. I exit my house, and I'm not saying it's a perp, but what's really interesting is that the person, exact moment I exit, they come by, and I thought maybe it was a coincidence. So I go, this was like around 9 in the morning, throwing out the trash, and at 12 o'clock I go for a bike ride, and at the front entrance of where I live at, there's a bench. So I get back, and this girl's right there that was walking with this guy when I was throwing out the trash. So leave the house again, the same person is showing up in the same spot. So they've gone 3 walks the same day. Just found it kind of odd. It was a cold day here in Florida. I'd never seen him around here before. So if you experience things that are odd, and let's say tomorrow, the exact moment you leave your house, they're at the same location. You come back, they're there. You go biking hours later, they're there. Those could be signs. Sometimes the perps may try to sensitize you and do things. I'm not saying they are perps, but when I got back into the house, I noticed an influx of people more towards the front area of the residential area, and you don't see no one nowhere else. So sometimes what happens is that targets are flagged. When I was in Texas, anytime I left the residential area, at the last place that I lived at, if I exited that area and didn't take a left or a right and crossed the road, there was a guy that had an antique car on the left side of the road. It's one of the oldest police cars I've ever seen. I'm sure it's worth some money. And he'd walk outside and whistle. And it happened so much that one day this Christian guy that I go biking with, that was a neighbor, he told me, "Do you know this guy? Because he does this every day when you pass by. He whistles." I said, "No, I don't." So this was happening every day, and members of the FBI would harass me, the Northern Command, and they used a thing called photo blocker, the guys in the Army, because when you take a picture of the vehicle, what happens is that that nothing comes up, the tag will come up white. And I have pictures of this here in Florida. There's one lady that has a DoD tag, and yeah, the Department of Defense, what do you call it, U.S. government tag. But I reached out to someone, and according to what they're telling me, they work with Department of Defense. It's like a radical feminist looking lady. Maybe the tag, I have suspicions that it could be a ghost tag, and that maybe it was bought off somewhere. I don't know. But I find it interesting. I was being harassed by 2 women with short hair, one with ties to defense contractors and Jewish people. I can prove it in Radical Feminist. The other one has the same type of haircut. And I'm documenting this state by state. Weird activities, and I've gone off in bushes to record these people to see what they're up to, what their activities are, who they associate with, because if I'm being harassed while eating a meal, having a margarita once a month or whatever, to unwind. No one should be harassing me. And this was happening every day in Texas. Every day I was harassed. It was unreal how much harassment. So, can you imagine if you have kids, and I'm just giving an example, and someone was to harass them, and police said, "We're not going to help," FBI says, "We're not going to help," and they make false reports. The enemy of TIs will make false reports when you ask for help because they want to paint this picture that you're crazy. And I made a video yesterday. The FBI made a false report. I never told them I had a head injury. I was there for, I was only able to talk to them not even a minute. I told them like I lost a lot of computers, and I have some documentation from 2 people doing some odd stuff from Virginia, and I'm hoping you guys can help me. He says, "We're not going to help you." So I left. I wasn't angry. I was disappointed, but I wasn't angry. I didn't argue. I just left. So your FBI is a sham. They write false reports and back up the CIA. And in Texas, a lady at the oncology office and also at a clinical trial told me that they had been approached by members of the FBI, and they were told to just pretty much give me a hard time. They didn't really get in depth. And then I went to another place where the people told me some people came in with black suits. Well, the FBI doesn't wear black suits. These weren't Secret Service agents either. And I tracked one of these guys down to an office that has a logo, but it doesn't have the word CIA on it, but it has a star that matches the CIA. And this guy was working with the Citizens Corps programs. And he was also tracked down to a U.S. base working with people in the Army.